Most entrepreneurs don't fail, they burn out. Nobody quits because their plan was wrong. People generally quit because they're exhausted. The pressure, the isolation, the constant feel of being in survival mode. If you're an entrepreneur, you know the feeling. If you're building something and you're stressed, questioning everything, you're not weak. You're just carrying more than most people understand. I've hit moments where the pressure nearly broke me and the burnout nearly got me. Business problems, staffing problems, money problems, time problems, family balance. All of these things that come with trying to hustle. If your business stops when you stop, your business means you are trapped. You don't have a system, so if you stop, your business will collapse. So in comes that word boundaries again. Entrepreneurs hardly ever switch off. Me being an entrepreneur myself, I know the feeling. I'm on holiday. My phone's still going off. My friends are enjoying themselves. They're booking excursions. I've got to have an hour to 2 hours time out in the morning to get everything organized. An hour around midday and an hour to 2 hours at the end of the day. I really don't like my phone ringing spontaneously. Yeah, you've got alarm systems going off in the nighttime. You know, all types of stuff. You're trying to have a family moment. It's your kid's birthday. Phone's ringing. Yeah, I know all of these feelings. Boundaries. And boundaries are not just with people. Boundaries are also with your business, right? A lot of people are not going to like the sound of that, but we go back to the word systems, yeah? And including things like rest, yeah? Rest isn't a weakness, rest is maintenance. You are maintaining your energy, and your energy should be dedicated to and devoted to systems, right? If you are going to go away on holiday, find a number two. Very difficult to do because most people are not going to work like you. Give them an incentive, even if it's a small pay rise. Number two knows what happens. And once again, you have the system for people to work within and get the output that you need to keep your profits the same. Remember, your business isn't a trap. That's not what it's about. Learn to turn off the phone. Learn to be present. I know what it's like, always thinking, always problem solving, but you have to leave the thinking and problem solving to others. Delegating, incredibly important, and maybe you need a boundary with yourself when it comes to delegating. A lot of the time within entrepreneurship, it's incredibly natural to chase growth, but growth without structure only leads more problems. That's what growth's going to do to you. So if you're in a small place, you're in one business or two locations, one location, two locations, this is perfectly fine, right? You want to get your systems right in this small area before you scale. Chasing growth is a natural thing to do. However, it comes with more responsibility, more staff, more pressure, more problems. We all heard the saying, more money, more problems. Well, if you want your money to make money, make sure you're making your money within a system because this is what's going to give you peace of mind, right? So once again, we're aiming to reduce burnout. Yeah, obviously we're going to have a little bit of fatigue. We've got to manage that as well. But burning out is what we're trying to prevent, right? So that's the objective here. And the burnout isn't like forever. Once, if it does happen to you and you need a break, like it's even happened to me, it's not something that's going to last forever, right? But when you do get yourself back in the mix, you have to learn to reinvent yourself, right? We all heard the saying, destroy and rebuild, and different levels, different devils. All of these sayings actually have some, they're actually valid, right? So you want to ensure that for every level you're at, there is room for improvement within you as the leader. Yeah. This is where real leadership is. So you have to be able to preserve your energy and work in that way where you're not burning out. Growth without multiple systems, yeah, will just lead to multiple amounts of stress. Yeah. So stress is something that we want to mitigate. We're not gonna we're not gonna eradicate it entirely, right? Some stress is good because this is what's going to mold you, but you don't want to get stressed to the point where you're not yourself, right? And I've been there, and that's not a nice place to be. Once again, we're back at the word systems, we're back at the word boundaries, we're back at the word maintenance. And within this, one thing that we don't want to do at this level is isolate ourselves. I am incredibly guilty of this. Having these feelings and having nobody to talk to within entrepreneurship, I know that there's many entrepreneurs that are isolated. So I have this other side of me, and my friends and family will know this, right? When my friends and family um, invite me somewhere, I am always the first to say no. Any of my friends that's watching, drop a comment, admit that I am the one that always puts myself forward for these group outings, these boys' holidays, family days out, outings, because the majority of the time I actually feel isolated. And that's the God's honest truth. This is quite hard to tackle, but you want to create a network of people that are in, similar circumstances to yourself where you can kind of bounce off of each other, share knowledge, share ideas, share systems. Like my systems were brought about via a school friend that is a business consultant, and he's project managed for loads of people, Goldman Sachs, Bank of Cyprus, RBS, the highest level, Goldman Sachs, whatever you can say, the highest level, right? He's project managed there. But I'm lucky that he's a school friend, right? So a lot of the time, whenever we have a conversation, even if I haven't hired him, whenever we have a conversation, he's sort of noticing things pretty early, and he's putting this information out there. And I have a great sort of group of friends when we do get together. Obviously, we all are men, we all have families. So when we do get together, I'm very lucky that the conversations are just like 10 out of 10. They're incredible. It's like I can go back to my sort of zone or my working place with a new mindset, new frame of mind. And this is why I love the boys' outings, the boys' dinners, and things like that. So, isolation, nobody sees the pressure that you carry. And this is something that you've got to kind of acknowledge. You can't really beg people to see that pressure that you carry. Your loved ones will notice it. So this is why it's important that you find that work-life balance and get around your loved ones as well. But within isolation, you are protecting your staff and your family and your friends from yourself, right? Because it's easy in isolation to push people away. And this is another thing you've got to be scared of. And I've been told this multiple times, like I've had people that have liked me and they've worked with me, and, they notice that I push people away, like this is something that isn't intentional. It's just like a reflex. So even I haven't mastered the art of isolation yet, but I'm 15 years in. Yeah. So I do have some skills and some ways to manage it, but this is an area that I can improve on. So if you feel isolated, you're not alone, once again, but you have to realize that entrepreneurs need support too, and you have to find people that protect you. You have to find people that notice, what you're going through, what the objectives are, what the routine's like, even if your health's deteriorating. I've got friends that tell me, look, you look like you're putting on weight. You need to get into the gym. My sister, you're the biggest you've ever been. You need to get into the gym. And I'm going to say I ain't got time. One of my friends is going to tell me, make time. I had a great friend the other day. He said the same thing to me, He said to me, look, like, well done. Everything that I've noticed in you over the last 20, 25 years since we were school, it's all starting to come out. And it's only because now you've got the resources. So now that you've got the resources and doors are opening for you, this person that you always were is starting to come out. But look after yourself, because I'm noticing that, you're not looking after yourself. And I love my friends for that. I don't take any of that offensively. And it's something that I have to do. But this is what isolation can do. This is what zoning out can do. This is what entrepreneurship can do. And this is when you kind of know you got to tighten your system, right? So when my systems are the best, I'm generally in the gym. I'm in the gym in the daytime. I'm in the gym when the shop's opening, So, yeah. So, right now the climate's a bit difficult. The social aspect, unemployment levels are through the roof. The skill shortage is not that great in London. And right now it's a tough time. So I know the difference between a social issue and a business issue. So we ride out the hard times knowing that there isn't much money in the economy. We might pivot to something else, different forms of promotion to keep the business alive, but as long as we're not burning out, we're all right. I'm not on the verge of burnout, but with the right staff members, I'll be back in the gym when the shop's open rather than planning other things like marketing and advertising and getting people in there, right? So, yeah. So, transformation moment, you know, as I said earlier, burnout isn't permanent, yeah? So, when you build systems, boundaries, and support, business becomes sustainable and you start leading calmly. This is this is the beauty, this is the most beautiful space when you're in business, when you know that you're leading calmly. I've been here a number of times, and I love this space, when you can travel, when you can spend family time, you got lions. It was like this all probably up until COVID. Yeah. And then we've had a couple of little bursts outside of COVID. And, economy feels like it's coming up. Every time it feels like it's coming up, we have some sort of government shake up in the UK and then something else just gives way and then there's another dip and then it starts coming up again. And then, I don't really want to get into anything weird, but right now we've got the Epstein files coming up and a lot of people stepping down from Keir Starmer. So, rather than the change of leadership, I'm more of a conservative, even though I couldn't take their backs in what they were doing in COVID. I'm a Rishi Sunak fan. I think he could have done a bit. There's no really other leaders, is there? I think we're in a place of poor leadership all around, but he seemed like our best bet since Cameron. But back to the point, get the support systems in place, get the boundaries in place, get the systems in place, and get to the place where you lead calmly. And that's when really you can have or hire a second in command. When you're in that place, share the responsibility, delegate, and just make sure that you're reserving those energy reserves for your family because that's what it's all about. Business is meant to be rewarding and it can be rewarding and it is rewarding when you get it right, yeah? So if you're feeling a burnout right now, start here, right? Delegate some tasks, document the tasks that you are able to delegate, share the load, protect your personal time, protect your family members, share moments with friends, find a network where you can bounce off of each other and you're not in isolation, build those cash flow buffers and stop carrying everything alone. Yeah, from the ground up. I hope you're enjoying this podcast. Stay locked. We've got so much more to cover. We're going to move away from other areas of business shortly, get a bit more social with things and how that can improve your business and your family time and, everything else that makes you a human being and puts you in the catchment of qualities that money can't buy. Like, comment, subscribe. Till the next episode. Peace out.